Tonight on To The Point, homeless concerns.
It'd be nice to just walk to work and enjoy the downtown area.
With the unhoused living in the site of an old church, how advocates and the city are responding, plus honoring our heroes. The celebrations across the country paying tribute to those who gave the ultimate sacrifice.
A few leftover showers on this Memorial Day for this year and tracking big summer heat for the valley.
And as we celebrate our Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities, how one local artist is preserving traditions and history through clothing. Thank you so much for starting your week with us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell. Fed up with the mess and stress, that's what one Sacramento man is saying about a property in his downtown neighborhood. It's caught fire multiple times and the unhoused are now living there. But ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen started looking into his concerns last week. And as Jeannie explains, it appears some things have been resolved.
It'd be nice to just walk to work and enjoy the downtown area.
For the past 4 years, Paul has enjoyed living in this downtown neighborhood in Sacramento. But he says things started to get worse this year.
Car break-ins that have really shot up just in this block alone. People jumping into people's yards. The cops being there constantly.
He's referring to this property on 15th and T Streets where the Chinese Gospel Mission used to be. ABC 10 is not showing Paul's face or full name because he fears for his safety. Over the last few years, the old church caught fire multiple times. And now that it's become a place for the unhoused, Paul says his numerous 311 calls to the city have gone unanswered.
311 said that they basically couldn't take any action or even try to help the people because it's on private property.
A check on the city's 311 map shows more than 50 311 reports were filed or addressed within a month span. A city spokesperson tells ABC 10 a notice and order were given to the property owner in April. The owner had 30 days to secure and clean up the property, or code compliance would come and clean it up at the owner's expense. The city adds it is currently working on follow-up notices to the owner, and any cleanup fee the owner doesn't pay for will result as a lien on the property. On Sunday morning, Paul says a crew came to clean up the mess, and by Monday afternoon, we saw only a few people in the area. Even so, those advocating for the unhoused say this is an opportunity for the city.
But if a property owner has abandoned a property and people are putting it to good use, existing and living and having a place to lie down and to keep their belongings, I would say that that's an improvement to the property and that the city could build on that improvement.
All right, so Jeannie has been following this story for us, and you actually tried to get a hold of the property owner, correct?
Yes, Alex. You know, the property owner is very hard to get a hold of, and I did manage to talk to somebody who matched the name of the last pastor on record. However, that person did not want to have a discussion with me. And I also asked the city if it was their crew that cleaned up a little bit this weekend, but because it is Memorial Day, I was not able to get a response.
All right, Judy, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And we often talk about 311. It's the non-emergency service center. The city of Sacramento encourages people to call to report various issues, including encampments. But when we talk to people, they are often not satisfied with the results. So we took that concern to Sacramento's 311 manager.
Understand, the frustration is a problem not just for Sacramento, but across California and some of the bigger cities. And, the only thing I can say is if you see it, report it, and we'll make sure that it gets to the right department.
He says 311 doesn't have personnel working in the field. Rather, they collect reports and get them to the right department. In the case of encampments, that could be the Department of Community Response, Code Enforcement, or even the police department. The homelessness response dashboard that tracks 311 calls shows nearly 15,000 calls just this year, with more than 2,000 enrollments and referrals into the homeless management information system and 563 rapid placements into shelters. It also shows hundreds of incidents of compliance to date this year, from sidewalk obstructions to unlawful camping, and nearly 4 million pounds of trash removal. And tonight, a homicide investigation continues in North Highlands. The Sacramento Sheriff's Office says a man was shot and killed this morning in a business park along Myrtle Avenue near Roseville Road. Deputies say they found a man with a gunshot wound, and it's not clear what led up to the shooting. No criminal charges will be filed against a man who shot and killed another man over the weekend. The Sacramento Sheriff's Office says it happened at an apartment complex on Sutter Avenue Sunday. Deputies say an ex-boyfriend forced his way into an apartment where his ex-girlfriend and her new boyfriend were staying. The ex-boyfriend and the new boyfriend started fighting. the new boyfriend shot and killed the ex. Officials say the couple is cooperating. And pro-Palestinian protesters disrupted a Memorial Day event at Memorial Auditorium in Sacramento today. The protesters left red handprints on the steps leading up to the auditorium, along with messages, stuffed animals, and children's shoes. An Instagram post from Sacramento Stands with Palestine says the protest was in response to the situation in Rafah and Gaza. The group is calling for the U.S. to end aid to Israel and a complete end to the occupation of Palestine.
Today, we bear witness to the price they paid. Every white stone across these hills and every military cemetery and churchyard across America, a father, a mother, a son, a daughter, a brother, a sister, a spouse, a neighbor, an American.
President Biden addressing the nation at Arlington National Cemetery today, honoring and mourning our fallen heroes. Biden, alongside other officials, participating in the Armed Forces wreath-laying ceremony at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Nearly 400,000 Americans are buried at Arlington, including President Biden's son, Beau. And in Roseville, the American Legion Post 169, along with Roseville veterans of foreign wars, came together to honor those who died in service. The ceremony was held in the Roseville Cemetery on Berry Street, and it's the resting place of veterans who have fought in every major conflict from the Civil War, the World Wars, Iraq, and Afghanistan. And then out in Dixon, military families spent the day honoring their loved ones at the Sacramento Valley National Cemetery. For many of them, it is an honor to share how veterans have shaped America to what it is today. ABC 10's Roxanne Aaliyah shares their stories tonight.
On a peaceful and clear Memorial Day, dozens of families join in solidarity at the Sacramento Valley National Cemetery.
Paying respect to the men and women that serve this country. It's a need that this country has for military people, and these people paid the ultimate price.
One of those people are Lawrence Patterson's father, who shares the same name. He passed away in July of 2008 at the age of 72.
He started in the Army and then got out, went back to Detroit, decided he didn't want to work in the factories, and then he went into the Air Force, served 26 years, and retired in Sacramento, California, and this is where we laid him to rest.
Not far from where he's buried, another family sits for a picnic to share memories of their father, Ruben Ramirez Navarrete. He's buried here with his wife, which is tradition for military families.
My dad was in the Air Force. He was served for 20 years. He joined when he was, tried joining when he was 16, but they wouldn't let him join because he wasn't old enough. He came back and joined when he was 17.
His grandson, now a grown man, still remembers his favorite memories with his grandfather.
My grandpa was always big. He loved Burger King, and so one of the memories I have would be quite often we would go to Burger King on the local base here, which is I believe it was McClellan. And as a kid, and we'd go, and I always get a kick that my grandfather would eat his burgers upside down.
The fond memories are bittersweet.
We feel sad that they're gone. We miss them, but we're also happy to be here with, family members.
And when Memorial Day is over, their loved ones live on. Patterson says, let us not forget the sacrifices they've made and be grateful for their service.
Say thank you to a veteran when you run across one. And it doesn't have to be today, every day. Tell them thank you for their service.
In Dixon, Roxanne Elias, ABC 10.
And families say that you can continue to support our veterans by making sure that they're taken care of and offered resources that they need. Next, on To the Point, the holiday travel rush is not over this Memorial Day, what people should prepare for.
We are preparing for some bigger heat building into the forecast, leaning warmer for the first week of June.
And later, how artists are passing down and preserving traditions through cloth.
There's different types of story cloths, like some document folk tales, some document historical events, and then others document migration.
All right, Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods with our Memorial Day weekend forecast. Actually, a beautiful weekend and day.
How is it almost the end of May?
I know. We're
The
here.
beginning of
We're
June
here.
is going to be a hot one for us. We are picking up just that light little breeze coming in off the Pacific right now, and a few scattered showers continue for this year. That's all going to wind down for tonight. A few isolated pockets of shower activity closer to Yosemite tomorrow, but for the most part, we're going to continue to be fed with that nice onshore flow, and temperatures very similar to today for our Tuesday forecast. Highs for today on this Memorial Day, mid-80s to right around 90 up and down the valley, 81 for Fairfield and 60s along the coast, 70s to near 80 in the foothills and 70s up top for the Sierra. Here's a look at those winds that are feeding us with somewhat of that cooler Pacific air coming in at roughly 15 to 20 miles per hour. Now we keep with that for tomorrow, and then we get into some of that bigger heat. So we're enjoying these beautiful evenings while we have them. Temperatures falling into the 70s at 8 p.m. and then into the 60s by 10 p.m. Weather changes. We're going to be tracking much warmer weather ahead. Gusty winds on Thursday, and also that's going to elevate that fire danger, particularly for the valley where those grasses continue to dry out. Breezy conditions develop into our Thursday. This is the weather pattern that is really resulting in it departing low pressure system, building high pressure ridge, which also brings the heat for Thursday and Friday. Now we'll get a little relief into our Saturday forecast, but then we're right back to some warm conditions next week. Highs for tomorrow close to 70 up top for the Sierra, with 70s and 80s for the foothills. Along the coast, we keep it really mild, 62 for San Francisco. Once we head inland, we're right back into the 80s to near 90 tomorrow after morning lows close to about 50 to 55 degrees. Nice and refreshing there for our Tuesday morning. Might need that little extra burst of cool air to get us going after the long holiday weekend. As we head into the 10-day forecast, it is going to get quite warm Thursday and Friday. A little cooler for the weekend, but we're right back to the heat next week.
All right, Monica, thank you. Next, on to the point, preserving cultural traditions, how one local artist is passing down Hmong traditions through threads, needles, and cloth. Welcome back. Let's get into your price points tonight. From the skies to the ground, it was a record-breaking Memorial Day holiday weekend. On Friday, the TSA screened nearly 3 million people across the country. And as millions of Americans make the trip back home, the travel surge is expected to continue. Experts say if you are still traveling and you want to beat the traffic, make sure you leave either very early in the day or much later in the day. And we have some good news, too. Gas prices are some of the lowest right now. According to AAA, the national gas price is around $3.59 per gallon. In California, that average is $5.12 per gallon, and the Sacramento average is $5.10 per gallon. You can also find the lowest gas prices near you on our website at abc10.com/gas. Then we have Live Nation. The parent company of Ticketmaster is being hit with another lawsuit. It's facing a consumer class action suit seeking $5 billion in damages, and this comes on the heels of the federal government's antitrust lawsuit, both accusing Live Nation of exerting monopoly control over its industry. And as we celebrate Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, we bring you a story that celebrates Hmong art and culture. Meet local Hmong textile artists who are keeping traditions alive while reflecting on a difficult and painful history of survival and resilience. ABC 10's Becca Habegger has the story.
Like threads in a cloth, individual people come together to form something bigger and stronger than themselves.
I was studying anthropology, and I was really interested in learning about myself and my history and heritage. And I found that through our clothing and our textiles, because I learned that actually clothing is connected to land. It represents the regions we're from, the different countries that different people live in, and really trace our diaspora and our migration.
Pachia Lucy Vang is a textile artist, researcher, and teacher specializing in the handcrafted clothing and stitching of her Hmong culture.
We've just always been encouraged to understand who we are and where we came from. And I think a big part of that is because the Hmong people don't have a country. And so these types of art forms have been really important in helping us maintain a sense of individual identity, group identity. It's helped us carry on our history and our heritage.
The Hmong are an ethnic group with a distinct language and culture, but no country of their own. They trace their roots to China, but many migrated to Southeast Asia to escape conflict in the 1800s, and a more recent conflict brought many to the U.S. At the Hope Center in North Sacramento, a Hmong cultural and community center, Vang teaches a workshop every other Saturday morning.
This is a traditional design that usually goes on funeral pieces that are worn on the body in the casket. It's made to go on the back of a jacket for women. So we're learning this pattern.
The bi-weekly workshops, which go through August, teach the art of Bandao, Hmong for flower cloth, a tradition with many variations stretching back centuries, and one that evolved during a dark time for the Hmong people, from flower cloths to story cloths.
So this is a diaspora story cloth, and story cloths were actually made in the refugee camps.
During the Vietnam War, the U.S. military also engaged in what's known as the Secret War in the neighboring country of Laos, recruiting Hmong men and boys living there to fight against the communist movement.
The Hmong were recruited to help the American CIA. And once the Americans left Vietnam, then those recruitments left Laos. And so many of the people, Hmong, Mien, Lao, who were assisting the American military efforts there, were left behind.
Starting in the mid-1970s, many Hmong people fled Laos for fear of persecution by the communist regime.
Hien Hip Bridge, for example, is depicted here. That was an incident where people were trying to cross the Hien Hip Bridge. Soldiers opened fire and killed a lot of Hmong people trying to leave Laos.
These are Laos's newest refugees being evacuated just before the communists moved in. The most tragic victims of the seesaw, not-so-secret war in Laos are the refugees.
Many settled in refugee camps in Thailand, where Bandao evolved into story cloths, created by Hmong women to keep their history alive and support their families by selling their artwork.
There's different types of story cloths, like some document folk tales, some document historical events, and then others document migration.
For generations, the Hmong had no written language. Culture was passed down through oral tradition and in Bandao.
The myth goes that when we had our kingdom and our autonomy in China, we actually had a writing system. But because we became displaced, we lost that writing system. Throughout time, we were able to hold on to these different symbols that used to be a part of our writing system by putting it onto our clothing.
Eventually, many Hmong refugees resettled in Europe and the U.S., with tens of thousands moving to Northern California and the Central Valley. Like Lu Li, who learned Bandao as a girl growing up in Laos. Later, while a young mother living in a refugee camp in Thailand, Li sewed and sold Bandao to support her family. She still has the needle she used in the camp. She then resettled in Minnesota and eventually California.
This one she actually made for the class so that she could show them all the different things you can do with cross-stitching.
This elder artisan now helps teach at Vang's workshop, sharing the skills she has honed over a lifetime.
This is my first piece ever that I finished.
Angelina Zhang learned Bandao from her mom when she was a kid and is taking this workshop to learn more about the history of the art form and her Hmong heritage.
It's a hobby, yes, but it's also learning about yourself and your culture.
This mom of 4 is accompanied by her eldest daughter, Penelope Rose.
I usually just pick colors that represent me, that make me feel like it looks pretty.
I wanted her to learn a little bit more about our culture altogether.
Yeah, I think it's really special.
A special tradition that makes a special gift.
She wants to give one to each of her children so that when she passes, they can remember not to be sad. And she made me one so that I can remember her.
Passing down culture, stories, and love, a thread running from generation to generation to generation.
And we also want to mention that Vang is a lecturer at UC Davis and hopes to make her flower cloth workshops an annual occasion. The current one runs every other Saturday morning through August. And if you want more information on how you can participate, make sure you head to abc10.com/race and culture. We're back after this short break. Today is Memorial Day, so before we go, I would like to say thank you to those who have served our country and their families. I personally know the sacrifice and service and pride that our veterans and their families have given to our country. And at a time when things can feel divided, I hope we can all take a moment to appreciate the act of service. Like our servicemen and women, I think we can all be of service to each other by being kind, patient, and understanding, also compassionate. And to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice, I want to say thank you. Have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow. Hey, it's Alex. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. The To The Point team and I love hearing from you, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. And don't forget, you can always email me and the team at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send us a text message at 916-321-3310.